Yo everyone, welcome to Amps, Pedals and Pickups. My name's Nathan. As you can see, we're doing things a little bit different today. We're going to talk about some topics. I've got some news to cover. But first of all, I just hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed. If you're here for my amp sim videos, for my gear reviews, so cool to be having this many people out there. The community just seems to be growing, just seems to be making more and more connections. So yeah, just really enjoying my time doing this kind of thing. And I wanted to toy around with this sort of format of video, mix it in, spice things up. So it's not like I go out of my way to make like professional grade videos or anything. You know how it rolls around here, but there's definitely a sort of I want to highlight the product first. I want to put the amp sim first, the piece of software, and it just means, you know, I just have to be careful in my words. Whereas this, we can just talk about things, we can riff about things, I can be real with you. It's like a one-man podcast, a lesser version of Swola, Fucking Friday, Leon Todd. But like I said, I've been toying with this format for a while now because a lot of times topics just don't warrant their own video, or sometimes they're like ongoing sagas. The amp sim world can be like a bit of a telenovela, especially with gear coming out all the time. So yeah, these topics don't really warrant individual videos. So having a new segment where I can sort of roll things up, maybe I'll do it every fortnight, maybe I'll do it every week, I don't know, but I've got quite a lot to go through. So let's start chomping away. So the first thing that I mentioned in the Dual Dark video is that I am now an STL Amphub beta tester. Huge thanks to those guys. It's been awesome. I've been doing it for a couple, maybe a month and a half now. I joined just when the Crank model came out, then I got to test out the Dual Dark. And then the new one, you know, these things drop every month, so I'll get to test this stuff out ahead of time. So yeah, that's pretty awesome, and it's very fortuitous that this happened. I'd actually just subbed as an Amphub customer. I'd subbed a few times in the past, and I think when the 6505 Plus came out, they had a cheap annual subscription, so I went on there, and I just found that every month I was waiting for the new amps to come out, and if it was a model that really resonated with me, I would rush to make those videos. And then I just thought to myself, hey, wouldn't it be great if I could get access to this stuff ahead of time? Every company works a little bit different. I knew some people that were already doing beta testing for STL, so you know, the stars just lined up. It was the right time. They had an open spot and everything, so that's just pretty much how that situation happened. Now, I know that you guys are like fascinated about this stuff on the other side of the fence as viewers. I'll let you know if I ever do like business dealings with a company. Obviously, YouTube, you have to disclose this kind of stuff. But I find that some people really like to toe the line, and they'll just like slip in some comment at the end of the video. It's like, no, I'll just tell you how it is. So I'm definitely not on the payroll for these guys. I just get access to the stuff ahead of time. If we find bugs with the software, we report it back. I don't want to go too much into the ins and outs and everything, but yeah, there's no financial compensation going on. I just get to test the stuff out ahead of time, and then for release day videos, if I want to do a video, I can. I don't have to. There's no obligation. Just sort of like a nice little back scratching agreement. So that very much fits the ethos of everything I've got going on here now. There's not too much pressure, a little bit of input from me, and then I get early access. So that's pretty much, there's not much else to it. You know, I know people love to hear about this stuff, but that's pretty much it as far as the Amphub beta access goes. So yeah, that's awesome. Super happy to be doing that, but at the same time, it probably does make me a little bit more positive to that ecosystem, and it's not because I'm being paid to say so. It's more that, you know, it's just like, now that I know who they are and I can sort of put faces to names and that kind of thing, they're like the little engine that could. I sort of want to see them succeed. I get to test stuff ahead of time. If something's bad, you know, we find bugs with this stuff, we send it back to them, they fix it, and then when you get that fixed version, you get it back and you're like, oh man, this is awesome, it plays really good. You just have this, like, you just think about things differently. And I find it funny that when beta testers praise software, they can't objectively just see outside the bubble that, like, you're probably gonna like this a little bit more than somebody plonking down 100 or 200 bucks, and that's, I don't know what it is. I'm not smart enough. I'm not a shrink to know the full spectrum of things going on there. But it's just kind of obvious to me that as soon as you have like a positive relationship with someone, you're just gonna like them a little bit more, and that's just totally how life is. That's just how things work. All right, so a little bit of juicy news. The Kemper Profiler Player. You know, I guess we can just call it the Kemper Stomp. This is something that people have been asking for like ages, like honestly 5-10 years. I remember thinking if the Kemper had a pedal style format that was just a player only, that would be a serious contender. But something about it just coming out now, I don't know, it feels like it's a little bit late. But at the same time, these sorts of pedals are booming, like the UAFX Lion. There's a whole bunch of the Tone X pedal, I guess, was a big one that came out. this sort of format in the pedal, maybe the pedal board world has just blown up, so amp only solutions are really you know, booming with that sort of stuff. It feels a little bit late, but I guess the market's still there. People are buying pedals like no tomorrow. But regardless, I guess let's just take a look at the tech of this thing. You know, if you told me Kemper were designing a pedal like this, it's exactly what I'd expect. I like the look of it. Classic left and right out there, instrument input, headphones if you just want to do some headphone jamming, expression pedal. Another complaint people had was MIDI over USB. So if you're running like a whole MIDI setup with your Strymon pedals, you know, your $10,000 worship board, you'll have to think of some ingenious ways to incorporate this bad boy into that setup. So no MIDI direct, but MIDI over USB. Yeah, here we go. So obviously it's going to support everything the Kemper does. So liquid profiles, I know you can control it from your phone, so there's no display. That's another thing people are complaining about. The list of complaints probably far surpasses the list of achievements this pedal can do. I think the dynamic range is the classic. Seamless rig switching, that's a big one that people seem to be super into. Takes distortion pedals like a tube amp. I would love to put that to the test. You know, chucking a dirty tree in front of any digital solution is always going to make it for an interesting time. So 3 controllable outputs, XLR, stereo, and headphone. I guess that's handy if you want to send like one level to the desk and then have different stuff going on, especially if you're running the cones that I see. So yeah, up to 1 or 2 cones or cabinets. That's super handy that you can run things that way. But yeah, you know, I'll just link this here. I'm not just going to read this stuff out bullet points for bullet points, but you know, load your own IRs, USB kind of thing. I guess you can use this as an audio interface because I know they have that sort of thing going on there now. I really need to get my hands on this stuff because just reading the specs isn't going to do too much for me. It's a Kemper in a pedal format. I believe that there's a little bit less effects going on. I keep seeing that there's like 1/3 of the effects. You know, it's so funny the way that you look at this. If you're like knee deep into the Kemper ecosystem, this could seem like a really, really cool new thing. Maybe you can think of some cool ways to use this. But if I'm completely honest, being outside of the Kemper ecosystem at the moment, I kind of look at this and go, you know, unless I had a really succinct board that I wanted to carry around, I would personally just get a secondhand full bore Kemper so I can have the profiling side of things. But you know, we have more solutions than we have problems in the guitar world at the moment. You know, not everyone has all these amps and pedals and everything lying around. Maybe you just want a player, maybe somebody else in your band is doing all the profiling and you just want something small to fit in your board and you're sick of carrying that toaster around and you don't have a rack set up. I guess it's just another solution. This is going to work for some people, and other people like me at this point in time, I don't see a need for this. But maybe my needs will change in 6 months and I'll be like, hey, remember that Kemper box? It's going to be a good solution. So here it is. I'll leave a link to it down below. Let me know what you think about the Kemper Profiler Player. So of course, because Kemper brought something out, I went onto the Fractal forums because just like the great Mac versus PC, Samsung versus Apple, as soon as Kemper do something, you know, the Fractal fanboys are like charging up those lasers, ready to take out another Death Star with what they got going on. But regardless of what they were saying about the Kemper, I stumbled onto this FM0 wishlist item. So this is not a real product. This is just like a mock-up design. I talked about something like this in my FM3 video and why I got rid of it. Let's just take a look at these mock-ups. If we think about this as just as like an audio interface, so no need for the foot switches, save a little bit of room. I got the on-screen touch dials. I would love to see Fractal take a Tone Master Pro or Quad Cortex approach to things, but we know that's not going to happen yet. We'll still stick with the dials, your classic in and outs, your basic FM3 IO with the in and out. That was one other thing that bugged me with the FM3s, that you could only go out, you couldn't come back in. But anyway, I just thought this was cool. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's just a wish list item. I still think that a game-changing thing would be Fractal native. I don't care if I have to use something like this as a satellite box like the old Universal Audio setup. But yeah, seeing this, you know, Fractal, just get Fractal native. Let's make it happen. I guess we're just going to hit the total trifecta of news. This is just like a weird that this was happening. I didn't plan this, but the Quad Cortex brought out a black and gold version. It's like the classic Malibu Stacy, has a new hat. Now, this isn't going to sell units. It's not like you're sitting here going, oh man, I don't care anything about a Quad Cortex. Oh wow, it's black and gold. You know, that's not happening, but for me personally, I was thinking about this, like, why would they do it? But if I was honestly on the fence about buying a quad Cortex and I was like, oh, maybe I get one in March or something, and I'll just think about it, and then they brought this one out, it might actually spur on that purchase a little bit ahead of time because you want that limited edition thing going on. I actually really like the look of this, and I know it's completely superfluous, but I don't care. I think it looks good. It reminds me of like the EC1000s, like the white and gold hardware or black and gold hardware. Let's take a look at some of the other photos. It's the exact same thing. There's nothing great about it, but it does look a little bit bling, a little bit pimp. Interesting. I can't actually recall a time that modelers would do this sort of thing. I know amps and guitars definitely have the special edition limited version of stuff, but modelers, that's like an interesting one. If you can think of another time that a hardware modeling unit did something, I'd be fascinated. But yeah, anyway, gold quad Cortex, let me know what you think about that. I think it looks pretty cool. Speaking of news topics that definitely don't warrant their own video, but I can sneak it into this kind of thing. NeuralDSP have a new plugin coming out tomorrow. We've got the classic sooner tomorrow thing going on there. What do you think about their marketing strategy? I feel like this stuff was super novel, super like Apple-y when they first started doing it around the Gajira plugin. For me, things sort of peaked around then. Maybe the Mesa Mark was pretty good, but their releases are just like, I feel like they're not targeting the me's, the chugga chuggas of the world anymore. They're going like the weird route where they can, like, I guess, widen the market. So it's probably a really smart business move, but it just means that, like, even my anticipation for the new NeuralDSP plugin is just not what it was 12 to 24 months ago. And I'm fascinated to know that if you feel the same way. I'm just going to be the absolute biggest hypocrite in the world if tomorrow this is like a Marshall JVM or Mesa rectifier. I'll just go out and buy it straight away because I've been waiting for some solid plugins on that front. But yeah, let's see what they drop tomorrow, and we'll see if you find it interesting. So yeah, in terms of news and stuff, I think we'll just cap it there for now. I really just wanted to make this video, test out the format, see how we go. I've got a few plugins and amp sims that don't quite warrant their own video, so maybe I can start incorporating it into this kind of thing. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below and I can answer them in future videos like this. I'll leave a link to my email in the video description, so if you want to email, join Discord. If you can just communicate with me in some way, shape or form, then if you have questions about your pedal board, amps, guitars, fixes, ideas, anything going on there, we can take a look at getting those answered in these sorts of videos. But yeah, hitting 1,000 subscribers, so thankful for everyone that's been along for the ride. I think like 1,000, 100,000, a million, those are like the big milestones of a YouTuber. 100,000 you get a silver plaque, a million you get that fat gold plaque. So maybe one day, maybe we'll be hitting those PBs, who knows, anything is possible. So once again, huge thank you, and as always, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.